Up, just enjoy the show like ice cream, whipped cream, next dream. So you know, can you feel what I mean? It feels so good, and you knew that it was. Well, we're bringing all the boom, boom, and you're so sweet from your head to your feet. When I'm giving you the boom, if you wake up in the morning, it's somebody else's room. Blame it on the boom, boom.
You muted my mic.
I muted your mic because you started talking over the video.
Because you said we were live. I didn't expect it to go into the general.
Honestly,
I'll tell you what, amateurs. Seriously, don't just tell me, right? Like, just say, look, we're going live. All right, we're going live. There's no harm in it, is there?
how
Unbelievable.
do we normally start live?
Well, yeah, but this is a what's it one, isn't it? It's an off the cuff one. It's a paranormal special.
Yeah, right. So do you want to explain what the premise of tonight's podcast is then, Chris?
If you can define the word premise, I would love to know what I'm supposed to say next.
Boundaries of what we're doing tonight.
So we want you guys to come on here live and tell us any paranormal stories, ghosts, UFO, crypto stuff, any conspiracies that you think that you may believe in. Like, this is gonna go like back and forth to it could, we don't know where it's gonna go. Myself, Jay, obviously welcome back, JJ.
Thank you.
It's about time we have someone who understands technology. So JJ's coming in and smashing it. But if there's anything supernatural that you guys want to talk about, then please do. We've got stories galore of our own experiences and stuff that we've seen, heard, you know. So if you guys have got anything comment-wise, then please just put it in the comment box. We're doing a random one, Jess, a random conspiracy and supernatural podcast tonight.
Yeah, as we say when we do this podcast, it's about live wrestling and everything in between. We can't always talk about wrestling because it bores us half the time.
Yeah.
As much as we are all wrestling fans, it's the same stuff every week.
We need a break. We need a break from it tonight, don't we?
Yeah.
So if you, again, guys, if you want to just put some, if you want to come and join us live, let us know. Big Dan will send you the link, and we'd love to hear your story. It could be anything supernatural, paranormal, you know, like a strange dream, or something that, you know, if you've been seeing medium and it's come true. You know, there's so much stuff out there. Genuinely, I'm buzzing off my tits for it. It's wicked.
Let the comments build up in the comment box. Obviously, we've got Stu on already, so we know for a fact he's going to want to join in at some point.
That's all right. As long as we've got subtitles ready, we are good to go.
Right, Jay, you have to understand that the Scottish is a bit hard to understand. I know you live up that way now, but
yeah.
It's still hard.
Really?
Yeah,
where do you live?
in the Lake District in Cumbria.
That's posh.
Well, we're right on the seaside.
It's posh. That's posh where I'm from, mate.
Well,
it is. It is. Anything with the back end of a district is pretty high end.
All right. So go on then, Chris. Start us off then.
Start us off. Well, I'm going to say.
You've trained in this. You've trained in this. You have a degree in this.
I have a degree in cryptozoology. Yes. So, what would you like to talk about first? Do you want to talk about, you know, Bigfoots? Do you want to talk about Loch Ness monsters? Do you want to talk about Acapulco, chupacabras? What do you want to talk about? Anything and everything we can talk about tonight. I literally can't wait.
Well, all right then. Let's go Bigfoot then.
Bigfoot. Okay. Do you believe in Bigfoot? Yes or no?
No.
And why?
Oh.
And why?
I just feel like they would have caught him by now, no? Like big Donnie and all furry and all that sort of stuff. Just put hair on Daniel and just let him loose in a forest, and it's pretty much Bigfoot. Like it just doesn't make sense.
I think Bigfoot would be scared of Big Dan. They'd be like, "Oh no, competition." So my thought process on this is there are too many sightings, stories, videos out there that are hard to decipher, right? So we all know the Paxton and Gimlin film back in the 1970s, where they filmed what they thought was a Bigfoot walking across a ravine of a low lake, whilst they were out filming a nature documentary. That is probably arguably the best found footage that they can put out there at the moment, and it still holds up to this day. Only because there was no CGI back then. There was no, costumes weren't that advanced, right? Stuff like Jaws hadn't been invented yet. Stuff like, Little House of Horrors, all that kind of, E.T., everything that was decent in quality didn't happen until after, right?
Yeah.
For me, there are too many stories, too many sightings for it not to be something, right? Now, I don't know about you guys, but I watch a lot of Bigfoot programs. I watch, Bigfoot Unknown, Expedition Unknown, Bigfoot the Catchers, and it's basically teams of Sasquatch hunters. Because let's just put it out there: the Yeti and a Bigfoot is completely different. Similar in stature, similar as in a big, thing with hair, but it's different terrain, different areas, different animal or different crypto animal, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think there's just too much that's out there to not make it a thing. You know what I mean?
So then, are you thinking the same with then things like the Loch Ness Monster?
Yeah. So when obviously when I went up to Scotland to bury my dad's ashes a couple of years ago, and I took some of his ashes and put him in Loch Ness because he liked going up to Scotland. But I went to the Loch Ness Museum, and they said to date there'd been 1,012 sightings of the Loch Ness Monster, and everyone that had reported a sighting didn't know the next person. So they were completely separate sightings, right? So let's just say that JJ went to Loch Ness. He goes, "Oh, Chris, I've seen Loch Ness," and I go up the following day, go, "Hey, Jay, I've seen Loch Ness too." Yeah. When the sightings have been recorded, no one knows anyone who's had these experiences. You know what I mean? So 1,000 plus people can't be lying. There might be some embellished, stories, like the most common, the most famous picture ended up being a mechanical head. There was the black and white picture, and the name escapes me of the person who did it, who took the photo, but he confessed. I think he confessed on his deathbed that it was all a fraud. I'm trying to think. Robert Wilson, that's it. And it's a picture of literally a black and white. It's a black and white image, and it's a head poking out, and the head's turned to the side, and you can see it quite distinguishably. But they said that it was a mechanical thing that they could control, and
yeah.
But that didn't come to light until years later.
Yeah.
But and the strange thing is, if you was to take Loch Ness and take out if you was to drain Loch Ness, you could fit the whole population of the world in Loch Ness 3 times over. It is that big. You know what I mean? So if there is something down there, chances are there is something. What it is, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, especially with how big it is, if it's that vast, it wouldn't surprise me if there's something down there.
Well, this is it. I mean, if Big Dan just put a fin on his back and started swimming, you know what I mean? We'd all be like, "Hey, it's a Loch Ness monster."
Yeah.
He's
Wait,
gonna kill- he's
it's
gonna
the
kill
Loch
me
Ness
tonight.
monster and Bigfoot's baby. What is this?
Right, yeah. It's a hybrid, I guess. He's thinking, "You dick." You can see it in his face.
So obviously this is a paranormal everything thingy. So I don't know if did you see all the controversy regarding the Ghost Adventurers guys recently?
Yeah, I mean, talk the audience through what's been said.
So Zach Bagans is the Ghost Adventurers lead
Investigator,
essentially.
Yeah.
A lot of people have come forward stating that he's a bully, his tactics aren't right, the way he goes about stuff for the show, getting other shows cancelled, etc., etc. What do you feel regarding that? Because me and Beck religiously watch Ghost Adventurers, Project Fear, which is the Destination Fear guys now YouTube show that they run. We literally anything ghost wise we'll watch.
Yeah.
I know you obviously it was you who put me onto a lot of these shows in the first place, as it was anyway.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going on with the whole Ghost Adventurers lark? Do you think it's running its course with Ghost Adventurers? They're on series 26, 28 now, 27?
Not being funny. So how many found footage documentaries last 26 seasons?
Yeah, well, yeah, we're on 28 now. Actually, it's a bit 28. Yeah.
There's got to be something there, aren't there? You don't renew if you've got. I mean, the thing is, with Zach Bagans, he's a character.
Yeah,
but he plays to the camera. He has the Haunted Mansion in Las Vegas with the divot box and the doll. What's her name? Balls.
I don't know. I got it.
The name of the doll. I can see it. It's got a orange nose, curly hair.
Oh yeah, it's awful. It's like it's terrifying.
It's borderline clownage.
Yeah, honestly, it's terrifying.
I think a lot of people just don't like the fact that he's successful.
Peggy the doll.
Who?
Peggy the doll.
Yes, the one that you can't look at, and if you do look at her, you've got to say sorry.
Yes. So they've got the Devil's Rocking Chair, the mirror, the murder van,
Yes.
Peggy the doll, the cauldron. They've got a lot of paranormal
items.
Yeah, basically anything that people don't want, anything cursed, anything paranormal, Zach will take it, stick it in his little mansion, and charge you for it. But then there has been a lot of reports of paranormal activity within that place, as it was anyway before Zach got hold of it.
Then great. Why not add more? Add more? Again, guys, if you've got any stories, get on the live. Come and tell us. Talk us through it, because I'd be interested. We'll probably do it if you can keep it to like a couple of minutes. Not that we're going to have loads and loads and loads of people, but it's an interesting, thing that we're doing that's different. Not many podcasts do this, but it would just be nice.
Jay, what's your thoughts on the Ghost Adventurers stuff then? Like the TV stuff that we see on TV now?
I haven't really been up to date on any of those sort of series that you're speaking to, hence the sort of silence from me. But I do remember as a kid watching the paranormal activity ones. Yeah, where it had that. Is it Derek or whatever? Yeah.
So he was So Derek Acora was a medium, right? And he got found out to be a fake.
Right.
So.
Me and Mum went to see Derek when we lived in Ludlow. He was at the theatre there, and we both sat there and we were both like, this isn't great. Like well, since he got caught, no one's going to believe him. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Ghost Haunted was one of the biggest things on TV back then. You know what I mean? The early 90s, it was huge.
Yeah, I mean, it was him and Yvette Fielding and Most Haunted. But realistically, it wasn't very good. It was just her screaming half the time or being jumpy. And they said that a lot of that stuff was all fakes because that's what the TV companies wanted. They didn't want realism. You know, and people can argue with, you know, ghost adventures, but there are some really convincing evidence.
I was going to say, even in the recent episodes that like me and Beck watched 2 episodes last night because we're just catching up on this series.
I need to.
So some of the footage that they found last night on both episodes that we watched was ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's not stuff that you're going to fake either. Like they're showing it as it's being recorded. Like they're filming their cameras.
I think that's the thing. It's what happens, you know, on the night. Everyone goes, "Oh yeah, it's someone else who's back, you know, back in another room banging or saying stuff." But I don't think it is. I think it's genuine. Like I watch a lot of haunted stuff on TikTok, and it's like people that work in hospitals or work on factory sites, and then they go like, "What is that on the camera?" You know. And I think there's so much stuff out there that it can't be not real. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. There's got like I don't get me wrong. I'm not. I believe in this and I believe in that, etc. But there's got to be something after death.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I am a firm believer that the not reincarnation.
No,
I don't, but I think your spirit goes on, and you see all your loved ones, and you go back to being happy instead of being a mardy old wrestling critic.
But like me and Jay, we've grown up in pubs all our lives. Now, pubs have been around for hundreds of years. Some of the ones that we lived in were as bad back then as they are back 100 years ago, to be fair. But like when we lived in Oaken Gates, Jay, at the Alex, how many times did things happen in that pub that we couldn't explain? Like, Mum would be sat downstairs doing a bookwork and the lights are flickering on and off. Christmas decorations are moving without no one in the pub at all.
Really?
Yeah, like she woke up one night to go to the toilet and she saw a black figure about 8 foot tall walk into what was mine and Jay's room at the time.
Bigfoot.
But walk into mine and Jay's room at the time, and it scared her that much that she didn't call us. She went back to bed. She went back into the room and she shut the door.
So she left us for dead. I was going to say she just left you guys for dead, hasn't she?
Basically.
Say what? She's got one of the year for that one, hasn't she?
To confirm location, is this the pub that I fell down the stairs?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're on about now.
But then Jay never has bout to sleep walking in the whole time that I've known him.
Right.
In this pub, he had bout to sleep walking. But he didn't remember what happened or how it happened.
Right.
But he went top to bottom of the stairs sleepwalking. He's never sleepwalked in his life.
Do you think this was because of this entity?
It was from, and this is from previous landlords as well. It was quite a malicious figure that was in this pub. Like there'd been reports that the previous landlord had heard his children talking in the bedroom, and when he went to something or someone, and when he went into the room, there was no one there other than his child.
Well, they say that children can see ghosts and spirits, can't they?
And then when questioned about who he was talking to, there was a very small window in the bedroom, in the top right hand corner of the bedroom, very literally tiny, like almost like a bathroom window, small.
Right.
And the little lad said to the dad, "The man with the red eyes is talking to me through the window."
Wow.
And kind of stuff like that. Like we've heard stories from Mum from pubs that she had in London where things were being thrown down the stairs of her in the cellar.
Oh wow.
Glasses suddenly just falling off the wall, like just randomly, like secure there for months on end, and then suddenly just thrown across the room, that sort of thing.
Wow.
A lot of poltergeist.
Like if anything's the ideal guest, it's gonna be Mum for this sort of thing.
Well, next time when she's not working, we'll get her on and we'll get some stories. That's incredible. Yeah. And did that happen? Did that happen in every pub you went to?
There was a lot. I'd say the Alex in Telford was probably the worst for activity. Like the things would be like Mum would have statues like in the bathroom on the bathroom window. We would walk in and find them in the bath. And these were big, heavy statues. They weren't.
Yeah, they weren't like.
They weren't stuff. And like I say, she sat downstairs, Christmas decorations all up. The only person in the pub, and the Christmas decoration would go from being literally vertical to horizontal.
Wow.
With no wind, there was nothing blowing on them, to the point where Mum shouted, "Leave us alone," and then stuff stopped for a period of time. Yeah. Like we had a customer called Pete, who's a close family friend. He we had the toilets were outside because it was an old pub, so the toilets were outside in like its own building.
Yeah.
And he went into the toilets, and Mum had clicked all the lights off in the toilets because it was closing time. Walked into the toilets, and he was having a slash, and someone tapped him on the shoulder and went, "All right, mate." And Pete turned around and went, "All right." And then, Mum's actually just come on.
Speak of the devil, she arrives.
Alive chat. He literally said, "You're right, mate," and scared the Pete that much that he came through to the pub and started shouting at Mum, "Don't you ever do that again!" Kind of.
I'm assuming there was no one behind him.
There was no one behind him at
all. Yes.
I'd say I'm pretty sure Mum's got some ghost stories that she could tell. If she's willing to come on, we'll put her on. But like, there's a lot of stories.
That's mad. Did you guys ever witness anything whilst you were in the pub then? Like, obviously, if Jay was sleepwalking, or to that extent, did you ever see anything or hear anything?
I would hear a lot. I'd say old rickety building. It was wood floors. Like you would hit. Oh, hold on. So, from what I'm gathering, Mum wants to come on, so I'll send her the link and she can tell you some stuff.
It's a family affair, isn't it?
You're getting the old family here, Chris.
Jeez, tell you what, I'm lucky.
I mean, what was it? Where was it that we had the wrestling show at the pub? Was it the Briery?
The Priory, yes.
On Nampantan.
The one at Loughborough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had because it looked like an old castle, right? And I'm assuming it had some sort of whatever background. But my room was the turret room.
Okay.
And a lot of nights, not every single night, and it wasn't something that I could just like pinpoint this exact time at this all that sort of stuff. At night when I'm trying to sleep and stuff like that, I used to hear like knocks.
Okay.
And like certain like lights switching on in the room and then switching back off. But the knocks were like the primary one, where it would just be sort of, but it wouldn't be like someone in another room. It would be like outside of the window knocking in.
So it'd come from the outside. Obviously, if you're up in a turret, you can't get up there.
No one's touching that.
Was that
got
like,
a ladder?
So was that like on the windows, or was it on like the walls, or?
It was like it sounded more like a woody knock, like a wood pane. So it'd be like because they're all windows, so they have like wood windows, and you would just hear like random knocks.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That was a really old building as well, to be fair. Really old.
It's like Chris saw the Priory, like where we had to get where we stored the ring. All of
Oh,
that.
it was like back in the 50s.
Aye.
That's mad. That's mad. So apart from the knocking, then, did you ever see anything like with your own eyes? Like, did you see, like, obviously you saw a shadow figure, but did you? Obviously that was a different pub, but did you ever see anything and you go, oh shit, what was that? You know, like
I've never seen a figure. For me, never seen a figure. It's for me, it was mainly just like knocks and just weird noises that you would never, unless like somebody was trying to fuck with you, you wouldn't really expect to hear them at certain times and all that sort of stuff. Like, but no, never a figure for me, unfortunately.
yeah. Oh. What about you, Dan?
It was always more like just kind of seeing shadows at the corner of your eye, or like noises, especially when like at one point where I was locking up the pub at the Alex while it was being sold and stuff. I was in the Alex on my own, and you would hear stuff all the time. All you did was just bolt the door downstairs, like sod it. The pub's gonna get broke into. It's gonna get broke into. Like, I'm not going down those stairs, regardless of what's there. But yeah, there's been many pubs where like you didn't want to go down in the cellar. It always tended to be the cellar. You like, and these were well lit cellars, but like there was plastic sheets.
well lit.
well lit cellars.
Shout out to the electrician and the sellers. Go on, sorry.
Yeah,
He's down there with his Wigo boxes.
He's there with his phone into. Oh, this is well lit, isn't it?
I get mum through the link.
I bet he criticises the lighting in every place he goes to now. Oh, the lighting is not that good here.
You could do with another light over there, to be fair.
Yeah, there's a few missing here. That would really, accentuate that kind of the corner. It would be very good.
That would make that really well lit.
That is Big Dan in a nutshell.
But even when we did me and you did a bit of recording down in one of the cellars at Radcliffe.
So yeah, the Trent. So we went down, didn't we? And we heard a kid laugh, and it was near the fire. There was like a fire pit, wasn't there? Like a fire place.
Yeah.
And we didn't hear it whilst we were there, but when we reviewed the footage, we went upstairs because the room upstairs in the Trent, your mum used to it was like a living room at the top, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So my room was at the very top of the building, then it was kind of like an open space in the middle. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, we heard a kid kind of chuckle like a, wasn't it? I think. Man, honestly, when you reminisce about things that happened, things come back to you quite quick, like really quick. Again, guys, if you've got any comments or anything, right, if we can get Stu on as well, he's got a story. I'd like to listen to it. I must admit.
Give me 2 seconds.
And we'll try and get some people in. As I say, if we can, that will be wicked.
Right.
Go on.
So yeah, have you had anything happen to you like that then, Chris?
So I was going to save this story till like last, because it's like a full circle story. So when I was little, in my old house in Bingham, there were my bedroom looked out onto a. Have I ever told you this story?
No.
Okay, so when my bedroom was, it looked out onto the landing. So if you imagine just a long landing, there was a door on my left-hand side, which was my mum and dad's room, and at the far end there was 3 doors. The far left was the utility, like a playroom. The furthest one was my brother's, and then the right side was the toilet. My bed looked onto the landing, so where I rest my head. And one night, for some reason, I woke up and I was like, feel awake, but I don't feel awake. You know, when you're like kind of just, you're groggy kind of stuff. And I looked and I opened my eyes and there was a figure between the 3 doors, right? And it was a long white gown, dark hair. And I was like, oh, Mum's just going to the toilet, kind of thing. And I blinked and this figure wasn't going anywhere. And it was there for a good 10, 15 seconds. And I looked and I could see the feet moving, just moving, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the figure wasn't going anywhere. And I was like, what the flipping hell? Obviously, I'm young. So I got out of bed sneakily and I hid behind my door and I peered out. I remember pinching my cheek just to see if I was kind of like asleep or
With it.
not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't real. And I was like, whoa, yeah, no, this is a thing. So, unfortunately, as a kid, the only thing you do when you see something like that is that you act stupid. So I decided to run and go, ah! And I ran down the hallway. And obviously, as I went towards it, it vanished and I hit my brother's door and jolted and almost knocked myself out. And everyone woke up because I hit the door so hard, you know. And I told my mum and dad, and they were like, "Oh, you're just dreaming. You're seeing things."
Oh.
It's getting windy. At my yeah, I'm gonna have to come and take that down. I'm gonna have to take that down in a second because that's gonna lift. Right, I'm gonna come back to that story.
That's a paranormal activity right there, Chris. That's not wind.
It's not. It's just the wind outside. But I need to go and take it down because if not, it's gonna really do some damage. I've got a part 2 to this because it gets a lot more interesting. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Harris, I'm just trying to help Mum with Safari.
Safari. Oh, is she on the phone, is she?
She's on her phone. So, Luke, see if I can help. So, on your phone, Mum, if you go into you swipe, if you see the dots at the bottom and it says search, you put in Safari in there, that'll open Safari. And then you can come on. We'd like you to come on if you can.
The paranormal lady.
While Chris is saving his gazebo. So, guys, if you got Stu, we'll get you on very soon, mate. I've got the link ready for you. We've just got a few people that are wanting to come on as well. It's very nice music in the background.
So I've had to have my AirPods for today's session because I broke my headphones today.
Well, I'm sure Katie will get you some new ones.
No, well, yes, but no. I just need a new cable because they're like studio ones, so I just need to get a new cable.
Right. I'll just get Mum sorted there.
Right, panic over. My bar isn't going to say I've tripped myself some nuts. Right, I'm getting involved.
Right, well, while I'm trying to sort Mum out, what we'll do is we'll get Stu on.
Do you want to tell me my second part?
Yeah, carry on, son, but yes. Hi.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So obviously, seen this ghost when I was younger, right? Fast forward 17 years, right? And I was just starting to go out with Ree, who was obviously now my wife, and she was my girlfriend at the time. And she stayed over, you know, and nothing happened. So one night, we're in bed, just sleeping, just genuinely just sleeping. And she sits up and she starts screaming. And I mean, like, petrified shrieks. She never stayed over. after, right? So I got up and she's screeching, right? And I sit up and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, don't move. What the fuck? She's like, there was a person in the corner of your room. And I was like, what do you mean there's a person in the corner of my room? She goes, there was a woman in the corner of your room. Right? Now I tweet straight away. Now I'd never told Bree this. I never told the only people who knew were my mum and dad.
Yeah.
And I said to her, what did she look like? And she went, she had a long white dress, long dark hair, and she was just, you could see her feet moving, but she wasn't going anywhere. And I was like, holy shit. And I got up and I was like, I saw that when I was like 9.
Yeah.
And she was like, why didn't you tell me? I was like, because I knew you'd be scared and you wouldn't stay over. And it reaffirmed, because Ree's not bothered. Like, she believes it when she sees it. But it was that confirmation for me that I wasn't making it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's the most full circle ghost story I've ever witnessed it, heard. You know, I've heard some great ghost stories, you know, in the past. And I'm just like, oh my God, like that. Yeah, that was it. Nothing could get any better than that.
No.
Yeah, that definitely confirms something. Like,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they have there's a thing called like sleepers. So like you have a dream and people who have passed come to obviously visit you. And I've been visited by my granddad 3 times, and I've been visited by my dad 3 times, and just kind of I don't really talk about this, but you know we were talking about it and we were splitting shit. So it's just a case of like, you know, my dad told me it was all right, didn't speak, just gave me a hug, and I woke up and I was sobbing my eyes out. Like I was proper in hysterics. And then my granddad was, you know, he was the same. He was the first time I saw it, it came to like it sounds weird, doesn't it? But it was a genuine experience.
I say Mum's had the same where her granddad or dad came and visited her.
Yeah.
She was with my sister at the time in the bedroom when we lived in Outwell. And she would ask questions, and the candle would be flickering, and there was no wind or anything in there, and it was like the candle was flickering to what she was asking.
Yeah.
It's like Adam's put one here. When I was about 8, me and my brother saw a woman stood in the bath in a wedding dress, but no one else could see. Years later, my mum showed us a photo album, and the same woman was in the album. It was her great grandmother. She died on her wedding day.
Wow. Sorry, that's loud. That's wicked. Oh man, this is what everyone's got a story. you know, like when we talk about wrestling, it's almost like people are embarrassed to talk about wrestling, but people are embarrassed to talk about like paranormal stuff. But everyone knows the wrestler, and everyone has a story.
Yeah,
I don't know why people think it's a bad thing. That is cool. That's a cool story, man.
Right, let me send the link to Stu. Let's see if we can understand the Scottish lad.
I'll try. Don't worry about it. No, that's cool. I love stories like that. That is proper wicked.
Well, your missus is in the room there, Jack. Chris, Jay.
Yeah.
If you want to get his name right, that'd be great.
Has she got any stories?
So I text her. I did ask, because do you have any paranormal stories? She replied,
They're literally
she's well, because she's playing games and I'm on a podcast, so you know it's a respectful thing to do. So she put, she went, whenever I've accidentally hit you in my sleep, I just say it's me, but it's actually my dad beating you, because her dad unfortunately passed. So there's no actual story there. She's just trying to be funny.
Yeah, that didn't work, did it?
No.
Right. Let's put Stu on. You ready, guys?
There we go.
Is he there?
The crazy Scotsman. Right.
No, that's not me. That's you.
Oh, 1 second. We're going to have to add him on.
We can hear him, but we can't see him. Maybe that's a good thing.
You know I'm a handsome bastard.
Didn't say you weren't, mate.
Oh, by the way, me and Paul were talking. See, next year for Flower Wrestling,
Yeah.
we're going to bring down a really nice bottle of whiskey.
Nice. Let's sit and drink the shit. Let's do it.
Too right, mate. Too right.
All right, there we go.
Hello. Yeah, he's caught me there. He's caught me there when he sent me that. I was fixing my bag there for Saturday.
He's going hiking, everyone.
All
Yeah, I
right.
had to fix my bag there.
Right. Let's have your story, then, Stu.
Okay, right. A couple months ago, was it a couple months ago? About 2 months ago, my mum, she went to a spiritualist, and she got a few of her family members. I'm going to go at the end, but then I'm going to go back. This is where it's freaky. So Stephen come through here and saying the usual, he wasn't in pain and that anymore. He was happy, and he was meeting people that he heard of before but never met. And one of them he got told to meet very recently. Now, this was on the Friday, my mum went to see the spiritualist. On the Monday, it was the anniversary of Adrian's passing, Lionheart. And Tam, BT, was going to go up to his grave, spend some time there, put some flowers down and all that.
Yeah.
And I asked him, can you ask Adrian Lionheart to look after Stephen for me? And Stephen basically said that he met somebody that he'd heard of but hadn't met before. And that's when I says to my mum, who was it? Who was the person? And she said it was a wrestler.
No way.
No, it's true. And even my jaw dropped because I thought all that stuff was a lot of crap. But then I heard that, and my mum, I never told my mum that I said this to Tam.
Yeah.
But then that happened on the Friday, and then I told her.
That's cool.
It's freaky.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, it was freaky.
Yeah, it is. But the good thing about it is that you know, Big Steve is looked after and he's okay.
Oh, definitely. I thought that was brilliant. And then I think that Saturday we had a show. I think it was the show that just before my debut, when I debuted in the ring. And I told Tam that, and he was like, no fucking way. I said, seriously, it's true.
That's awesome. That's a cool story.
It was quite cool that happened. But it's the fact that my mum told me that, but I told my mum what I'd said on the Monday.
So does that make your mum believe then?
Definitely. I think it does. I mean, there was stuff that came through on that same night that my mum went and seen the medium that even made my dad. And see, when you get to properly meet my dad, mate, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
My dad doesn't believe in all that kind of stuff, but stuff came through from my dad for Stephen to my mum, and even my dad's jaw dropped at the floor.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, hey, Stu, mate, thanks for your story, mate. That's fantastic. I like how it's for the bomb.
No bother.
Cool. We'll catch you soon, big man. Thanks so
And
much.
before I go, cracking live, by the way, with Sabu boys.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
Obviously, I'll talk to you in the chat later.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
See you later, my guys.
Great. Cheers, Stu. Take care.
All right. She's
What
finally
a
ready.
cool story that is.
That was a very cool story.
Yeah, it's
If
spooky.
you guys have got any stories similar to that, then let us know, because yeah, I love how everyone's got a story now. Here we go. This is it.
All right. Evening.
Evening.
Claire's got a family reunion over here. Jesus.
I know. Hiya, Mum.
Oh, just press on this link, he said. A bit more technical than that, Dan.
That's why we've got JJ Shaz.
Oh, honestly. Right, so do you want to hear this story?
Go on,
Yeah,
then.
go on.
Absolutely.
Shoot.
Right, I used to do temporary pub work for people that were going on holiday or were in hospital or something, or they're being kicked out of the pubs. Now, I was in Shropshire and I was asked to go to London to do a pub relief, which I thought was a bit weird, as it's a hell of a difference, distance, and they've got their own pub reliefs down in London. But I didn't moan. It was superb money, really, really good money. So I was with the first husband, so I thought we'd do it. So I used to work in the kitchens and he used to work in the bar. And if you imagine there's like a little side alley bit out there which goes into the cellar. And I kept getting these flashes by my eyes, and I kept thinking it was the sun shining on the pans and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went in the cellar, and all of a sudden, I'm being hit by potatoes being thrown at me from the top of the stairs. So I thought it was the bar staff or something like that, but I just ignored it. Went up and had a go at them, nothing. So we had a lock-in one night. Oh, and this happened loads of times. Lots of silly things. Like I'd lie in bed and I'd be ice cold, and they couldn't come back from their 2 weeks because there'd been an earthquake, so they had to stay in Rio de Janeiro.
Got you.
So we had a late night one night, and do you know when you got posts in the pub and people, they've got like a little table on them and people lean on them?
Yeah, yeah.
I was sat there one night and so many things had happened, and I could actually see this soldier stood there in the old uniforms with the metal helmet, saw everything. And I kept looking round as if thinking, have I had too much to drink?
Yeah.
Can nobody else see this? And apparently I went absolutely white. And the next morning I said to Bren, the bar manager who was there, Bren, something weird's going on. He said, I know. He said, but we couldn't tell you because nobody in London would take the pub over. Nobody would do a relief here, so we had to go out of area. In the cellar, there was like archways that had been blocked up with bricks.
Right.
Like, we're talking hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Under London, there's so many tunnels and walkways. And the old soldiers used to march through the tunnels under the pub. And that's what it was. The soldiers going through the pub. The Roundhead and Cavaliers.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Whoa.
Nobody in London would touch that pub with a barge pole.
Cheeky bastards, aren't they?
That's why they had to go out of the area to get me in to do it.
That's wicked. I love that.
It was freaky, very, very freaky.
So did other people? I've got to ask. So did other people in the pub see this person, or
no? Not that night. They hadn't, but they'd seen lots of other things because all the bar staff in London basically live in the pub.
Right. Okay.
And we've been given a really lovely, lovely room as well, which is very bizarre when you're doing a takeover. And nobody would go in that room because it was, like I said, I'd lie there and be freezing cold and you'd hear bangs and stuff like that. And that was a room that was hoarded upstairs. And that's why nobody slept in it, even though it was the nicest room in the pub. Nobody would go in it.
Because it was just scared, I guess.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. That is a story. Oh,
it was amazing.
Everyone's got a story.
I say, but the Alex was quite a bad one.
The Alex that you were on about earlier, that was so weird because when we turned the gas off in the cellar for the gas bottles, I go and try and change the gas bottle, and it'd been turned. I used to turn it quite lightly, but it turned off. So I'd have to get a wrench on it and stuff like that. I'd have stuff thrown at me behind the bar. Right. Bottles would be moved while you were working there. Bottles would move. Somebody apparently had died there previously, and the one day we got all the Christmas decorations up. and they were sort of hanging down the wall. And I kid you, I swear on my kids' lives as they sat there, the Christmas decorations went flat from the wall and just stood up. And I said, excuse my language, you best fuck off and leave me alone now.
Oh, you can swear as much as you want around here, Shaz. We don't
And then
mind.
they went back down, and that was it.
Gee.
Freaky as hell. But in the boys' room that the boys were in,
Yeah.
that's apparently where the guy died.
And that's where you saw that black figure walk into our
Yeah,
room.
walking across the landing into your room.
And then left us to die.
Yeah.
Well, I took myself up in bed.
Why then, Shaz? Why do you think pubs are so haunted?
A lot of it is the age of the buildings.
Yeah.
Obviously, and the cellars got a lot to do with it as well, especially like in London with the walkways and things like that. And the pubs, if you look at the age of cellars, pubs that have been going back hundreds and hundreds of years, imagine all the amount of people that have been in those pubs, or the landlords that have been in the pubs. The spirits stay in the building itself, in the brickwork. I'm convinced of it.
They're attached to something, aren't they?
Yeah.
But you're very sensitive.
Oh, I'm susceptible to all. Yeah, I'm very susceptible to all that anyway.
Yeah, I say, because you've obviously not talking about anyone who died, but you've predicted someone was going to die just by a feeling.
Well, I said to Jason was staying the one night, I said, Jason, your grandma's just died. And within 10 minutes, he got a phone call that his nan had died. And that I have lots of things happen with my grandfather that is with me all the time. So I am very open to it and very much believe in it.
Yeah.
So I think that helps as well.
As long as you don't have any premonitions that people are going to die now, we're all right.
No.
That's all right. That's it.
But I think you pick up on it as well when you're upset or you're feeling sensitive about something. That's when things like that happen. Well, that's the first time I've seen my two boys together for a long time.
Wow, this is it. Bringing families together. That is a great story.
So where's all your wrestling chums tonight?
We decided to do a paranormal one tonight.
Oh,
What did you do different?
I tell you who else I saw. I saw a medium. Now, not a lot of people say about going to see mediums, oh yeah, you tell them stuff but you don't realise you're telling them. And I thought, no, I'm not. So I went to see this medium who was actually on the TV, a guy called John Starkey. And all he said when I walked in was, have you got something that I can hold? And I had my grandfather's wedding ring. Now, I was brought up with my grandfather. And I sat down and he started reeling all this stuff off. My grandfather had polio as a child.
Wow.
And from 0 to 16, he'd had, I think it's 48 operations on his feet and his legs. Jesus. And literally at his knees, you could put your hand around his knees like that.
Yeah.
Because he had polio.
Yeah.
And his nickname was Sparrowlegs.
Yeah.
And he said, why have I got a bird? Why have I got this bird? This sparrow. George called the sparrow. Wife, a sparrow called George. And Granddad's name was Sparrow. And he came out with all this stuff. And I just sat there and didn't say one word. And I taped it all. It was brilliant.
You know what? It's weird because they say that some mediums are very good.
He was on TV. He was amazing.
I want to go and see a medium. I got to admit, I think that's one of the things I need to do before I die is just see it. It sounds quite dark, but that's one thing I want to do, like a book. But would you go see a medium?
Well, I saw Derek.
They're just thinking about it.
No, we saw John Starkey. I saw me and you went to see Derek Akora, didn't we?
We saw Derek in Ludlow, didn't we?
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I say it was a good show, and he obviously picked up on a lot of stuff. But it was very samey with Derek, unfortunately, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got those idiots sat in front of us anyway, haven't we?
There we go. See where it goes off the cuff and everyone rants.
We got those three drunk idiots sat in front of us that wouldn't shut up the whole way through.
Yeah. Which was a shame.
Well, Says what it says.
No.
Experience, wasn't it?
No.
God, it's just made me realise how similar you two look like now. Sorry, JJ.
I'm still the handsome one. It's fine.
How's the kids, Chris?
Very well, thank you, Shaz. Very well. Paying the classes as usual.
I know. I've got 3 of the buggers.
Wow. One of them turned out all right, though.
Yeah, Gina's fine.
I was going to say Gina's fine, isn't she? So that's all good.
Right, well.
Kill me afterwards. Shaz, listen, thanks for coming on. It was wicked.
All right.
Great story.
I'm going to get off now because I've got to be up for work at 5 in the morning.
Right, well, I'll see you tomorrow, Mum, when we come over.
All right, love you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Shaz.
Bye.
What a great story that is, mate.
Well, I've lost Chris.
You just cut me off.
There we go, we're back.
You look right. So it is you.
That was me then.
Yeah, it was, you cheeky little bugger. That was wicked.
Honestly, Mum has got so many stories, not just ghost like she. We need Adam Ashley. We need more Shaz. She's brilliant.
Yeah, agreed. We want Shaz. We want Shaz. We want Shaz. Oh, that was wicked.
Honestly, the stories she's got from pubs, mate. Like I said, the Lemmy one and the guys from Bottom and all sorts. Honestly, some of the stories she has is mental.
She could have a book on the amount of stuff that she's experienced.
Good. Because those are the kind of people that are so more interesting than boring bastards that have done nothing in life.
Yeah, exactly. So
We call them skeptics.
Psychic them and Chris.
Eh?
When are you going to go see a psychic then?
Do you know what? I'm gonna wait until stuff is done with the barracks.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna legit go and see one. I'm not gonna give any game away. I'm not gonna talk. I'm just gonna say, look, tell me what I need to hear. It can be lewd, rude, crude, I don't care. But I would love to just experience it.
Yeah, it's like when we've had pubs, Mum's hosted kind of like psychic nights and got psychics in. And it just reminded me that Becky did when I was with Becky the first time when we lived up here, when we first lived in Het. And it just reminded me that me and Becca were on about it. The stuff that the psychic mentioned then, which is now true to today.
Mm-hmm.
In a long way round it. Like she's never really gone into tell me what exactly it was.
Right.
So obviously that was a personal reading for herself. But
yeah,
like she says some of the stuff that was brought up is true to what's going on today with us.
Yeah. Has she divulged that information or?
No, I'm not going to kind of pry into it because, like I say, they are private readings for people. So,
no, that's fine.
But like she has said, like some stuff that's going on with like Jack at the moment and stuff like that. It was mentioned previously, kind of that she would have a child that would be different in ways and kind of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So,
do you think you go and see a medium? Like not, what you've seen in the past. But...
I would go see a medium. I would like to do a ghost hunt as well. I know there's a lot of ghost hunts up this way.
Yeah.
Well, I think that would be good.
That'd be really cool.
I know that there's quite a few around here, but I'd want to do one with like a reputable company, not just some idiots with a microphone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess it depends on who you go with and what the reputation of that company has. Because obviously, let's be honest, anyone could be an investigator these days. All you've got to do is get the right equipment and go and find somewhere that's haunted.
So Adam Ashley's put here, we need to do a night at the most haunted place in the UK and do a podcast. Well, isn't one of the most haunted places in the UK in Nottingham?
Salutation Inn.
Yeah.
32 ghosts. I did a ghost tour and we ended up at the Sal and they finished it and I was not convinced. But they put a ball at the top of the staircase. We were all in like the cellar bit, like sat round in a circle. I can't believe I remember this. This is fantastic. And they said that there's a little girl goes to kick the ball and it bounced down the stairs. And it did. Every time they put the ball up, it'd be kicked back down the stairs. But there was a part of me thinking, well, it's built on an incline, you know, and
Yeah.
the picture of the ball.
Steep incline that as well. That road is a very steep road.
Yeah, and it was on. It was the staircase was roadside, if that makes sense. So it was in conjunction with the layout of the road. But it was one thing I was like, and what it takes a lot to convince me that something. I mean, like I say, I watch everything and anything I can on ghosts, on paranormal, on cryptid, on anything. But you know, it's got to be like really substantial evidence. Like, because you see stuff these days and like the camera's shaky, it's out of focus and all that kind of jazz. And that to me isn't evidence. That's just something.
Yeah.
You know.
So have you watched any of the new Destination Fear stuff on YouTube?
No, that's on my list of 880 things to watch. I've just finished Sirens, which is obviously about mermaids.
Yeah.
Big believer in mermaids. That's something that has to be real.
I say there's too much stuff in the world generally for not to be this kind of stuff. Like, did you watch the Jonathan? Well, you probably didn't, but Jonathan Ross did a series quite recently on like the myths and legends of the UK.
No,
because he is massively into it. If you look at like Jonathan Ross, he is the biggest geek going, and he went exploring all around the UK, and he was doing like the Maidens of the Sea and fairies and like the Loch Ness Monster and the Chupacabra and kind of stuff like that. He was going like really deep into all of it. Like, if you get a chance, watch that series. It was on Channel 5.
If you send me a link to it, mate, I will have a look. The problem I have at the moment, and Jay, you might chip in on this one, is that a lot of videos can be tampered with. And like you get to the point where you're like, is it real? Is it not real? Now, sometimes, and you know, if I'm wrong, then fair enough. But I think a lot of the better evidence videos that are out there are all CGI.
Yeah, I would agree.
There's stuff out there that obviously, you know, can't be explained. You know, I really want to show you guys a couple of videos. I'm going to try and pull them up, and I'm going to send them to Dan.
So if you can YouTube them, I can put them up.
Right, give me 2 seconds. You guys just have a quick chat, and I'm going to send a couple of videos.
So where do you kind of stand then? Like when we watch like the Most Haunted, not Most Haunted, sorry, like Destination Fear, Ghost Adventurers, when they go on about like the serial killers in America. Now, do you think that, and it's always put across like, were they possessed? Were they taken over by something else? Where do you stand on that? Or do you just think people are generally bad and the stuff they're doing there is bad? Or do you reckon it's part of a possession? Or
I think if somebody has the ability to do something like that, like as you say, like the people that did all the murders and stuff like that, I think if they have the ability to do that, I think it's less of a paranormal thing where something has taken over them.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, with the world of paranormal, anything is possible, right? So it's one of those things where, I mean, they could have heard voices in their head that weren't theirs, that sort of thing, that was sort of giving them the ideas to do such thing. But I think if it ever came to that sort of thing, it's like a mind matter over anything else, of just getting yourself to the point where you could do that.
Yeah, I say like a lot of the ones like Manson is a big one that they tend to go to, saying that he was just bad and he was possessed. But like then there's so even like I think like a lot of them Like they were possessed by like the biggest demon, I suppose, Christian, you would know this one as well, was the Zozo.
Mhm.
Right, and they did the obviously the episode and the Demon House film.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's going up. So have you actually watched the Demon House film?
No.
No. Because that is it was done by Zach. Obviously, Zach bought the Demon House, and then they did about 4 or 5 different investigations on Ghost Adventures about it. It is quite disturbing to watch.
A lot of stuff like that is though.
And especially the ones that they do where they just go to the house.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a case of right. So this is the video that Chris has just sent me of one of the sightings.
Check this out. So this was caught in Mexico, right? About 13 years ago. And still to this day, this video here has not even been remotely solved. Now, what do you guys think it is?
I think Adam hit it on the nail on the head there. It's definitely Dobby from Harry Potter.
You say that, but this single video, guys, has baffled cryptozoologists for 13 years.
Yeah.
Because the woman who caught it, she's just a random person in the street. And this was caught. Yeah, you can say, oh, it looks like Dobby. Great. Okay, fantastic. However, it's never been debunked. It's one of the best videos out there where people have gone, shit, what is that?
Yeah. And say that's that, like you say, there's no evidence showing that, there's no clip, the footage isn't skipping. So what would you class that as then, a chupacabra?
Say again?
So that in America, at least in Mexico area, that would be classed as like a chupacabra.
No. So a chupacabra is almost like a dog. That is a standing entity on 2 legs. There's that the chupacabra would not be that. But a chupacabra has like a slight blue tint to it. So it's a mythological creature that technically, according to myth and legend, haunts highways, warns of dangers. So it's actually there for good, but it's because it's not. What's the word I want to use? Because it's not classed as an extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
It's a myth, a legend. You know, I think it's a weird one because there's so many myths and legends out there all over the world. You know, again, if you've got decent footage, you're on to a winner.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, there's been alien sightings in Peru this week. If you haven't seen anything. And it is all over the news in Peru. All over. There's been an alien spotted in the back garden, alien spotted on a highway. And it's like, wow.
So what do you think of things like possessions then, and kind of that kind of stuff?
Real.
Yeah.
100% real. You know, why would you have exorcists if they're possessions weren't real?
Then going back to things like I was saying like earlier with the serial killers, then a lot of them are said to be possessed. Now, do you believe that, or do you feel that?
I just think that
the Manson murders, like, was he just a real sicko, or was there something else?
No, it was a sicko. There's no factual evidence that there was anything else involved. Right? So we're us three are quite relatively normal people in society, yeah?
Yeah.
We know what's right and wrong, right? You know that if you walk out of the door tomorrow with a knife and you go and stab someone, you know what you're doing. And I just think personally, I think a lot of murderers say, "Oh yeah, I heard voices." No, you didn't. It's just your sick fantasy of wanting to kill.
Right.
There's a simplistic way. There's a simplistic way of looking at it, and everybody in the world will know what they're doing at some point if it's redeemed bad.
Yeah.
So for us, if Jay walks out today and goes and kills his missus, God forbid, but if he ever did, right, he can't turn around in a court of law and go, "I heard voices and I had to do what they told me to do," because he would know that if you play the mental health game, you can technically almost get away with it.
Yeah.
Because no one can tell him
That he did.
what he can hear. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why when you see murderers go to the like the guy in America who killed his kids and his wife and locked her in a tank.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, I was just doing the work of God." And I was doing. No, you weren't. You were fed up with him. It's a literal moment of madness.
Yeah.
And that is it. It's a instant reaction. You know. You look at the serial killers all over the world. You look at the Jeffrey Dahmer situation. He was just a monster.
Yeah, I think shows like Ghost Adventures and Destination Fear. The problem is they make a narrative, obviously, to get the show up and running and kind of make it popular. But then some of the stuff that they put in there, where they are doing like demon worshipping and cult worshipping and kind of stuff like that, it does make you think. Because like Manson was a massive demon, he massive in demonology. Even things like now, I suppose, like zoology at the minute. There was that big thing with zoology, wasn't there?
But then Manson didn't do anything.
But he killed a lot of people.
No. He had people do it for him.
But then is
hang on. If you're going to talk about cult leaders, Charlie Manson was never convicted of a murder because he got his cult to do it for him. He was locked up because he was a danger to society. That's the difference. If you're looking at serial killers like Jack the Ripper, do we ever find out who Jack the Ripper? You know what I mean?
You disappeared and then you came back. Then.
Well, there you go. That's my internet. But that's what I'm saying.
But then, do you think that the influence of Manson's devil worship and stuff like that had a factor in it?
I don't know, maybe if you look at it. Still wants to come back on. He says.
Okay, well,
This will be interesting. I can see Jay brimming with excitement here.
But here, he honestly thinks that Jack the Ripper was a police officer. That's why they never found them.
So that is one of the theories. And again, we can go down we're going to go down conspiracies and the Mandela effect in different episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea, the thing that Jack the Ripper was allegedly a police officer and covered the tracks, because back then there weren't detectives. There were people who were called detectives, but were they really?
Yeah, the people who just given badges, really.
Yeah, exactly, and a title, which is quite normally what you do in the workplace these days. But I think, at the end of the day, I don't think anyone will ever find out who Jack the Ripper was. And it's almost like we don't want to know.
No.
You know what I mean? Here we go. Go on then.
Right. You have now entered an area that I love. Now, I love serial killers. I've watched countless documentaries on them, and I'll watch anything about them. Seeing as we're saying there about Charles Manson, even though he wasn't convicted, evidence is turned around and says he has killed people. You see Spawn Ranch that him and the family lived in?
Yeah.
criminal investigators investigated Spawn Ranch with dogs, and in the soil they found evidence of decomposed bodies, and they analysed it, and the evidence they discovered, like the date of it, was around the period that Manson and the family lived at Spawn Ranch.
Okay, but if that was the case, why was he never convicted? If they had that much substantial evidence, why isn't there a conviction?
Because you think about it, mate, right? Have you ever seen any of the court cases with any of the family?
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, if there is substantial evidence that there is decomposed bodies on your land.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, Dan's what's Dan doing? What are you doing? You checking your credit card reel?
No, I was just putting up Stu's Adam's comment there.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Dick Watson was an evil bastard. He was bad.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that, Stu. What I'm saying is,
No, I was just reading Adam's comment. I was just reading that to myself there.
oh, yeah, I didn't read it. If there isn't, so if there's, I mean, I don't know what JJ thinks or Big Dan thinks, but if there is substantial evidence against somebody, then lock them up for it. But if you can't be convicted for it, then people can't assume that you've done it.
With Manson, they couldn't fully nail him on the head for conviction for murders, but with Manson, he wasn't there for the Tate and LaBianca murders, okay? I know for the Tate and LaBianca murders, the LaBianca murders, he tied them down. So he did, because which one was it? It was the one they released because she gives evidence. It wasn't Van Winkle, and it wasn't the other one. The other lassie that gets sent to prison. It was the one they let go, right? Because she testified in court against Manson. He was in the LaBianca house and showed them how to tie them up. But
but again, you're not answering. I'm not being rude, but you're not answering my question. If there is substantial evidence that he killed somebody, convict him for it. If there isn't,
100%. They couldn't nail him down there. They could see, because like the way the family were in court, they basically admitted to everything. That's why they couldn't nail him. And I do agree with you guys 110%. The amount of killers that have come out and says, "Oh, I was possessed. Oh, I was this." Look at Dave Nowinski, son of Sam. He said he was possessed by a dog. Sam, the next door neighbour's dog. Right.
So in that sentence right there, what does everyone think of?
Nut job.
Psycho. Absolute psycho.
Mental health.
100%. I mean, you look at it this way, okay? I mean, loads of criminologists, psychologists have looked at a bunch of serial killers' brains. One they wanted to look at was a guy you mentioned, Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah. Now, his dad, what's his dad's name again? See, I should know all this. His dad wanted his brain donated to science because he wanted to find out why his son was the way he was, but his mum wouldn't let them. And in the end, she finally got the final say, and his brain was destroyed. There has been a few serial killers that they have looked at. The brains, and a lot of them are showing dark shadowing on the part of the brain for empathy. So they can do no care. They'll just carve somebody up like they're carving up a chicken.
Yeah, but if you look at the history of serial killers, then that's the majority of them. They have no empathy, no. They just do it because they almost look like they get a thrill out of it.
Precisely, it's like another cult leader. Look at Jim Jones.
Yeah.
Look at David Koresh.
Yeah.
I mean, for you guys, okay. See, for you three guys, okay. For me, my most fascinating one at a lot of them is Gacy. Who are you three? Who's your most fascinating serial killer? If you still a ghost hunt, okay, what ghost hunt for a serial killer would you like to go and try and discover?
I'm a Jim Jones guy. If you were to look at the history of what he did back in Indiana, then for serial killers, he's probably top 3.
What about you two guys? Who would you go with?
Gacy wouldn't be mine because he's a clown, first off. And it's just not, it would probably be Manson, to be fair.
Manson would be good. See to go run Spawn Ranch for a ghost hunt. That'd be fantastic. Excuse me, boys. What about yourself, JJ?
I'd probably like to look into more of the Ted Bundy stuff. I know that a lot of it has been sort of uncovered and stuff, but just reading into it a bit more would be kind of interesting, I think.
I mean, I think, as I was saying Gacy, but there's another serial killer that really fascinates me, and his documentary was up. Well, I'd say documentary, was at the start of last year, and it's Richard Ramirez.
Okay.
Well, they say the second Night Stalker because the original Night Stalker just get captured. Was it 2 years ago, boys?
So they say.
The original Night Stalker, he was the one for the 70s. He was the one that was calling up people after he killed them.
Yeah.
The old man, I forget his flaming name. It's going to annoy me. I just watched a documentary on him the other night as well.
That's all good. So good. Adam said either Manson or Dennis Nielsen.
Dennis Nielsen was an absolute crackpot. He's the radar killer.
Yeah.
It's like one. If you're into that type of stuff, one guy I can recommend. He's like watching, and he was horrible. Was H.H. Holmes?
Yeah.
He had the murder castle in 1880 something. It was for the World's Fair in Chicago.
Right.
He's a nut job. So he is. He had the murder castle that was called.
But I'll tell you what, why don't we wrap it up tonight? And why don't we have a look at Serial Killers 1 Monday night? And we'll get Stu on. We'll have a look. We'll go through the people. Because I think, you want to know a bit more about Gacy and more about Jones and Nielsen and all these, serial killers. It'd be quite interesting just to kind of talk about that, really.
Definitely. I mean, that's the thing that I'm like really into, and I'm pretty sure you guys are as well. Because like Jim Jones, I know a lot on him, a lot of them. This is what I do in my spare time. I know so that's why I'm into horror. Cool. So as you can see behind me, I mean, and why I find you think fascinating.
Let's do that. We'll get together and we'll come up with a date and we'll talk about some serial killers. We want to do conspiracies. We want to do, Mandela stuff. So if you join us, Stu, next time, do a paranormal podcast, then we'll have you on.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks very much, bud.
Cheers, Stu. Oh, I'm gone. No, that's cool. It's a topic that you could probably talk about for hours.
Yeah.
And obviously we don't want to bore the viewers. It's been on for an hour 25. It's a long enough show. But thanks very much, guys, everybody, for watching. JJ, good to have you back. About time we had someone that knows what they're doing. Dan's going to go and grovel to Becky now, so we're going to... I'm waiting for him to turn up at my front door with his bags going, can I stay yours for a bit? No, I'm not working.
That's in 2 weeks' time, mate, when we're at AEW.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, gents. It's been interesting.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Pleasure.
Cool, man. So have a great week, guys, and we'll catch you all next week.
In a bit. Thank you much.